sunshine. Ooh, sunshine. Yeah. Everybody loves the sunshine.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
Bass.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode 3 of Behind the Streams. We are your hosts. I'm Armando. This is Luis. And yeah, man, thank you guys for joining in once again. Our topic for this week is going to be selecting the best capture card for you. But before we get to that, don't you want to tell them about something very special, Luis?
So we have a new segment coming on behind the stream. It is called What is New in XSplit. Now, if you don't know, we had a PTR release come through, so let's start it off right here.
There's no graphic. Hey, there you go. That's it?
That's it. So we're going to what's new in XSplit. If you were in our Reddit, we actually had a thread going on there, so make sure to go to reddit.com/r/XSplitOfficial. If we can pop it up on the screen right here so you can see the page.
Please, Mr. Director Man, let them see the magic.
So you can see here we have our Reddit page, and you have the PTR Broadcaster 3.1. As always with PTR releases, you know, these are kind of like just meant for testing. Don't really use them for your mainstream. But we had a couple cool new fixes in this one, or I guess new features added. So I'm gonna go through the first one. It is our Twitch Cheers, our Twitch Cheers plugin. So without connecting the channel here, basically you can actually display your Twitch cheers as they come in.
Exactly.
Aside from that, we also have our new Facebook reactions. So if you connect to a Facebook live post, you can see all the smiley faces and sad faces and angry faces pop up once you connect to that. Unfortunately, in the essence of time, we can't show it right now, but
we basically don't want you guys to know our username and passwords. That's
that's the main thing.
But yeah, it's always a good thing, especially if you're somebody that likes to experiment with the software and you have different types of productions. It's always nice to go into the PTR releases, see what's new, and also give it a run. And if you run into any problems, it's good to give us feedback, because if there's issues that pop up with something that you have that we can fix, it'll improve it, not just for you yourself, but for anybody else that may encounter the problem. So it's very important when you go into a PTR release that you know it's basically kind of a beta. It's a pretty solid beta with new additions, and if you ever run into any bugs, crashes, etc., it's always good that we get that feedback, because it allows us to refine the product for all of you guys. So yeah, definitely check it out if you're somebody that wants to test different features.
So we actually have a feature that's been highly requested. It's our integration with the Elgato Stream Deck. So this is actually baked into the PTR release. So basically, get the PTR 3.1 release, and then go to Elgato's site, elgatogaming.com/download, and you'll find a download for the Stream Deck 1.3 software. As long as you have those two together and a Stream Deck, so if we can go ahead and
Mr. Cameraman,
get our Stream Deck on camera right here.
That doesn't look like the camera.
So
hey,
yeah, there we go.
Something right.
So there's our Stream Deck there.
Dude, camera guy, focus. Can we fire this guy? Oh my God, we barely got a budget for episode 3 and you're already messing it up. Hold on.
So the budget for the cameraman is both gonna disappear and stay.
It's decreasing over time, buddy.
Anyway.
Wait. No, you gotta hold it. He's gotta learn, man. This is behind the streams. This is the type of stuff that happens, right? So focus on that, please, Mr. Cameraman. You cannot change shots director until he focuses on this. And why is he trying to zoom instead of focusing? I have no idea. Has this guy ever used a camera? Yes? No? Maybe so? Can we deduct his pay and add that to our drinking funds? Hold on, let me just go over there. All right, where's the focus? This is.
That's
Hey,
the zoom in and out.
Wait. Okay, now where's the other one? Oh, Jesus.
No, it's on the toggle on the side. Yeah.
Here. Yeah. You see, that's how you use a camera.
Behind the stream.
Jesus Christ, man.
More professionally. Anyway.
I thought I gave up streaming a long time ago to make, that's better. No, it's
Anyway, so if we can go back to the computer capture real quick.
Did you show it enough?
We showed it. So what we're trying to show you is how to set up buttons in the Stream Deck, right? So once you have the Stream Deck software open, you can set some buttons. We have the XSplit buttons right here. You also want to make sure that the Elgato Stream Deck extension is running, because if it's not running, then they don't really communicate with each other. So first, let's set up how to switch to a scene. So we're just going to go ahead and drag over scene. Let's select our game scene, or let's actually select our title scene instead. So once that's all set, you just click on it and you can see the scene changes. Let's go ahead and set up a record button.
Pardon me, Mr. Director, man, can you please add the camera of this defective camera guy's shot of him actually pressing the button, and so the stream knows that it's not just some hallucination magic trick that we're doing. He's actually pressing the Stream Deck button to switch the scene, and it's not just some farce that we made up to make it more appealing to our viewers, which we love very much. And make sure you follow us on Twitter at XSplit for any and all updates and stuff that we put out there. So, Director man, no. Okay, he's doing it. Anyways, while we're doing this here, this device is actually really good for people that have multiple setups. Not only multiple setups, but you can subgroup with this thing, right? So you can set a button to have a group of, memes and and whatever you want to pop up all over the place. It's a pretty nifty device. You can customize the icons too. So if you play in the dark, if you're like playing PUBG and you turn off all the lights and you want to be one of those guys that just camps out in one of the rooms and waits to like the final third circle before you come outside and then get bodied, yeah, you can definitely put some nice little icons there so you don't feel as bad. And
anyway, so you can see the Stream Deck right here. Now this button right here I've set up as the record button, so I click that and we started recording an XSplit. Pretty straightforward. We also have buttons, of course, for your microphone, turn it off, turn it on, and of course you can set an output, which is a stream, to start or stop. So I'll go ahead and set that right here. We already have a stream set up, so stream. Now we started streaming and recording.
Yeah.
So pretty useful tool, and it might not come through so well here, but basically if the button's lit up, it's active, whether it's a source or a scene or a recording or muting. But yeah, we actually have a video that we put together, so make sure to check out our YouTube channel and our Twitch channel. So twitch.tv/XSplit, youtube.com/XSplit. We'll have a video that goes through all the features really in depth. And yeah, thanks to Elgato for working with us on that. And pretty much that's what's new in XSplit. And there is...
See, they light up. They light up. But keep talking. I told you keep talking.
Yeah, they light up. So
which button should I press?
I mean, I think we're good.
See, this one's dim. This is the... Okay, we're good.
Anyway, that's what's new in XSplit. So let's use our intro to that segment as also the outro.
Oh man.
Yeah, what's new in XSplit?
Wow, that is totally not something I'm talking about in the way that you're saying it, not what's new with XSplit. I think we can be a little bit more enthusiastic about it, which is like, whoa, what's new with XSplit? Something like that.
What's new in XSplit?
A lot of stuff, man. You guys should go check it out. Download the PTR, test it out, try it out. Got any bugs? Got any crashes? Report it back to me. We'll help you out.
All right. Well, before we get into the meat and potatoes of this episode.
Yes, before we get into that, can you please close this OneDrive thing that's in the middle of my...
He can't see that. That's going to be really hard. You're asking the impossible, Mondo.
No, he can do it. This man can multitask.
Oh my God.
Man.
So, while we do that, let's go ahead and talk about the sale that we have going on.
Yes.
Here.
Slowly derailing the show. Anyways, let's talk about the sale that we have. What do you got for him, Lewis?
I thought we would make it to 4, Mondo, but this might be the end of the road. Anyway.
It's behind us. It's behind us.
So for you guys watching, we have a promo code behind the stream 0424. That's the date today. You get 15% off your XSplit purchase on xsplit.com/buy. That's any XSplit license. That's your lifetime license, which is on sale right now for $199, I believe. Premium licenses for 3 months, 1 year. It's all on sale. 50% off. Behind the stream 0824. Can't read numbers. Behind the stream 0824. 50% off. Anyway, back on topic.
Can we shorten that for the next episode for the people? Maybe, perhaps.
I think maybe for the people we'll do it. If the people demand it in the chat, then we'll do it.
Please tweet us at XSplit. Let us know if you want that code, that promo code, shortened, and we'll try to do the best that we possibly can. I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can do that. There'll be an episode 4. I guarantee you. I saved up money. I put it away outside in case they took our budget after the 3rd one because I knew something was going to happen. We'll have a budget.
So now that the ship has definitely crashed into the iceberg already, let's try and bring the remaining survivors back onto the topic, which is capture cards.
Yeah, all right, there you go. Way to throw that life vest out there.
So capture cards are pretty much necessary if you want to add a camera, if you want to capture a console.
If you want to do anything external from your PC.
Yeah.
Basically. So
you need a capture card.
Consoles, recorders, like you want to stack a recorder on top of a recorder and hook it up to your computer and then make that a recorder, you can do that too. Shout outs to old exhibit menus.
So just as capture cards are very useful, they come in a variety of forms. They can both take inputs, they can both hook up to your computers in different ways. So for example, here, we'll use this camera.
There's no faith in the camera, man.
Here is a USB 3 capture card. We actually have a USB 2.0 capture card. You have your PCIe cards that will go ahead and just connect directly into your computer.
That could be the hand model. That way you can do all the technical talking.
Capture cards connect through Thunderbolt ports, Thunderbolt 2, Thunderbolt 3. If you're old school, you can have a FireWire capture card. There's tons of different ways that capture cards connect to your PC. We're going to try and cover as many as we can, and also talk about different ways that they work. Damn it.
You almost had it.
I almost had it. Anyway, so first let's talk about some of the important features of capture cards.
Yes.
One of the most important features is the input. So you want to buy a capture card that has the input that fits your needs. So if you're trying to capture an SDI camcorder, right, you don't buy a capture card that can only take HDMI.
Well,
unless you want to convert it and switch things.
Okay.
If you're trying to keep your equipment as simple as possible, whatever the output of the device you're trying to capture is, needs to be the same as the input as the capture card.
Yeah, pretty much. You can always go with, like, if you are intending to stream multiple different things, right? You can go with one standard input, like say HDMI, and then get, if you're going to do composite, if you're going to do SDI, stuff like that, you can get like one converter that has all those and then just feed it into your capture card. So that's always an option, but usually it tends to be a little bit more on the expensive side, which is also another thing, is the cost of cards, depending on what input you need and what specific features you want out of the device. The price range is it's gonna range.
Yeah, like SDI is a pretty much more professional type of standard input device. I almost did it, but I didn't. Almost. But HDMI is more a consumer-focused type of cabling, and there's everything in between. There's old composite, component,
S-video,
everything.
RGB signals if you want to do electro stuff, but that's more complicated.
So yeah, you definitely want to pick the capture card that fits whatever need you have. Another thing to think of, especially if you're going to be capturing your console gameplay, is having a pass-through on the capture card. So actually, the model capture card that I was going to use for that is in use for now, but basically a pass-through is like, you basically have the capture card go in, it has an input, then it has an output that you can send to your monitor or your TV screen. And this is really useful because it cuts down on the hardware you need.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to buy a splitter anymore. You just use the capture card, perfectly fine. Another thing is is a capture card plug and play. So some capture cards need drivers, some capture cards don't. This is more in terms of thinking about like novice users and beginners. So a lot of people like, what driver do I install and do I got to update it? Oh, this is confusing. There are capture cards that basically you plug them in and they just work.
And they work. And then some of them require the driver and the software to get it to work, which is pretty interesting. But for the most part, yeah, there's some that will require drivers that you download from the manufacturer website, which is pretty much most cases. They have their own proprietary software and their own application that you can use as well. But for the most part, pretty much the vast variety of cards that are out there are compatible with our software. So definitely if you're somebody that is on the go and you're trying to stream different like say some events and stuff, not just at home. If you're at home and you get a card with a pass-through, that may be enough for you, and you know, to do all your streams every day. But say if you want to go out, then you need splitters, converters, all that stuff. But for the most part, you can get, like, how much is that one?
You know, we don't want to talk about prices about specific
okay,
cards.
we won't talk about prices.
Generally, you know, a capture card, you're going to look to invest at least about $150, and you can go about as high as $1,000.
You can go
per card.
way over $1,000, easy.
You can spend tons of money, but what matters is the features that you're paying for.
Yes.
So some other features that are important is some capture cards are able to auto-detect your input, and that means your frame rate and your resolution. So this is pretty helpful because you don't want to spend a lot of time saying, is this 1080p 59.94? Is this 720 by 480? So this is honestly something that's not really too well advertised on many capture cards. It's something that's kind of like trial and error. You learn which ones can detect, which ones don't. Thankfully, in 2017, most of these cards do it on their own automatically. So that's pretty useful. It's
a good feature to have, and you might want to look into those specific functions of the capture card, because there are capture cards that on the fly will switch from one resolution to another, right? And others will stay on one resolution if it auto detects it, and then you plug in something, say if you go from 1080p to 720, it will not detect the 720 after you did 1080. So there's capture cards out there that are that way as well.
So one final thing to consider with capture cards, and this is going to be kind of important when we talk about the first few different types, is not only if it can detect the input resolution and the frame rate, but if it can actually accept it, right? So as you know, we'll get into it more with USB bandwidth and stuff like that, but you know, maybe you're someone that's playing on a high-end PC, you want to capture at 4K at 144 hertz, you're going to need a super high-end capture card and a specific type of PC that can even handle getting that capture card put in.
A NASA computer.
So I will say, rule of thumb for streaming as it is now, as long as the capture card can capture at least 1080p 60 fps, you should pretty much be set.
Yeah, and most people still do 720 60.
So having said that, it's time to kind of go into our first set of capture cards. So if we can get the camera kind of focused on this one here. So the first type of capture card is a USB 2.0 capture card, and this capture card here that we have is the AverMedia LGP. So USB capture cards are pretty good entry-level capture cards. They're usually pretty competitively priced. The one thing though is that because they're USB 2.0, there's only so much bandwidth in USB 2.0, which means that what they have to do is they kind of have to compress the card on the device before they send it through the USB 2.0 path, and that means that you get a delay with the video and audio that's coming. It's still in sync, but it's basically, it can depend. It can be a half second, it can be more than that, but you're getting a delay in the video. And that makes it, that means you have to do a little bit more setup when it comes to syncing that with your webcam and your microphone. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of demonstrate that. So if we can go ahead and go to the computer screen real quick.
Director.
Yeah. So right here, I have my AverMedia capture hooked up. You can see we have a little bit of streamception here, but basically this maybe has about a half-second delay. So that's about 500 milliseconds. So when I add my webcam, what I'm gonna need to do is I'm gonna need to right click on it, and in the source menu you have this delay right here, right? So I'm just gonna enter 500 milliseconds, and that's gonna sync my webcam to my capture card. Now, if you want to do that for your audio, for your microphone audio, you're going to click on the gear symbol here, which goes directly into the audio settings. You're going to set a delay, and then right here, just put 500, or not 5,000. And that's it. Then now your microphone audio and your webcam video is synced to your capture card audio and video.
Just keep in mind that when you do that stuff, the mixer will be a little bit delayed, but because you added the delay to the microphone and the webcam, it'll actually be in sync when it goes out. So when you see it on screen, obviously it's going to have that bit of delay, but going out, everything should be totally in sync. Oh man, I almost referenced the band there.
Yeah, so that pretty much does it for capture cards. So the next type of capture card we're going to look into is USB 3.0 capture cards. So these kind of basically eliminate a lot of the setbacks that was with USB 2.0, which is they have the bandwidth.
Yeah, but the one thing to keep in mind when you're using a USB 2 device is the number of buses or the number of ports that you have, right? All your buses, and then if you're going to use USB cameras, because there are people like myself that have been, and Louis, that we plug in like 3 USB cameras and then a USB capture device, and sometimes the bandwidth is just not enough, and you'll lose the video signal of the capture card or a webcam. So sometimes you'd have to go back to like 2 cameras or 1 camera as well. So that's one of the more common issues with using USB 2.0 capture cards.
Yeah, so with USB 3.0 capture cards, pretty much these can take in up to 1080p 60. It can even go a little bit beyond. You have some wiggle room with the bandwidth. I've seen USB 3.0 capture cards that can take in 720p, 60 FPS feeds at the same time. These are really versatile, and honestly, these are probably the most common cards on the market now.
Yeah.
There's tons of brands, tons of manufacturers.
Better technology.
It's really finding what you want. Like, do you need that SDI input? Do you need a VGA? Do you need a VGA and SDI? Do you need HDMI, DVI? And locating that capture card. The only thing that you really need to take into consideration, and this is actually something that's become less and less prevalent, but it was with some older chipsets. So if you have an older, maybe 2013, 2014 laptop, you run into some issues with the USB 3.0 chipsets, and basically the cards just won't work on it.
Yeah. So there are some capture cards out there that will require a specific set of hardware. So it's always good to check the documentation on the capture card, because there are some out there that just won't work with certain setups. Yeah,
you just really need to look. They'll list out, hey, this works with this chipset, this chipset, that chipset, or it might need to be, you need a, if it doesn't work, that's, that kind of sucks, but what can you do? Next up is something that is kind of like the future a bit of capture cards, which is USB-C / Thunderbolt 3 capture cards. Now there have been Thunderbolt 2 capture cards. I believe Elgato is kind of like one of the first ones in the USB-C market with their HD60S capture card. But yeah, like these capture cards are really going to be our future. There's so much bandwidth in USB-C and Thunderbolt 3 that it's feasible to think that you can daisy chain multiple capture cards and have tons of inputs if that's what you want to do. Now, however, we will show a solution that's probably even better and more efficient than that, but really the sky's the limit. You're going to start looking at USB-C capture cards that take 4K, 140 hertz, just can pretty much take in anything.
There's a lot more information that can be passed through that standard than the previous one. So it is, and it's still kind of in its infancy, because there's still a lot more that they can do with it. It's just people coming up with the right hardware that can just allow you to do more as they go along.
So yeah, to kind of close up the USB section of this, like Mondo said, you can run into USB bandwidth issues, right? So for example, we have this laptop here, right? And as you can see, I'll try and get it on the camera here. Let's see if I can help out.
Is it?
We're looking at.
You can't focus over here. Okay, focus over here. Focus over there.
Okay, so if we'll get it on this camera here.
Director man.
So as you can see, there's 2 USB 3 ports right here, right?
He's learning on the job.
logic would dictate, hey, you know what? There's 2 ports. I can put in 2 capture cards there.
Oh, he screwed it up. Hold on. Come on, man. Man, dude, can they send me a new camera guy?
So
wow. There you go. Stop. Don't touch it anymore. Leave it alone. Okay, continue.
So yeah, logic would dictate that you can put in 2 capture cards here. The problem is because these share the same bus. If you put in a 1080 60 FPS input here, it's going to take up all the bandwidth, which means if you put the other capture card in this one, it's either going to drop frame rate or you need a lower resolution, right? So the important thing is if I can hopefully keep this in focus.
Wait, don't move, Mr. Camera guy.
Okay, there we go. So we have another USB 3 port here, which means that this is theoretically a whole different bus, which means it has its whole another set of bandwidth or available, you know, data to pass through here. So that means you want to put your second USB 3 capture card here and then one on the other side, and then you can truly have at least 2, in this laptop's case, USB 3 capture cards.
Well said, my friend.
So yeah, pretty much if you're on a laptop, use the ports on the different sides so you don't overload your USB hub and your bandwidth.
Just spread it around, you know?
And if you're on PC, usually PCs have a couple different hubs on different sides of the PC, but yeah, like Mono said, spread it around.
Yeah. For the most part on PC, you'll have like two buses in the back for 2.0 and then one for 3.0. But as the new chipsets come out and what they can actually do, they'll start adding multiple buses. So you have computers that have like 30 USB 2.0 ports and stuff like that. So, but on a laptop solution, sometimes it might become a little bit difficult because they compress everything into this type of form factor that sometimes they have to spread some of the buses around. So even like as Lewis showed you, on one side you have 2 USB 3.0 buses, and on the other side you have one. That one bus that's on the opposite side might also be in use by like a card reader or another peripheral that is put into the device as well. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
So Mondo, since I'm such a giving person, I'll let you take over this next section for PCIe capture cards while I grab the card for the section following that.
So you buy a PCIe card, you open up the left panel of your computer, you take off the 2 screws, slide it off, put in the card, close it, done. Okay, I'm done. Anyways, so I like how he has all the notes, right, of like what to say and all that stuff, and they never give me anything. They just drag me in here and go like, okay, you're doing the show with us. All right, fun times. Anyways, what do you guys
where's
want
the
to talk
spark?
about? Chat, what's going on?
Yeah, let me just grab it.
I should look at his notes. So okay, I see what he did there. I see. So you guys can't see it. It's called behind the streams, but it's okay, no problem. So I'm guessing we're going into not just PCIe cards, but there's also solutions for people that want to utilize PCIe cards in a more mobile solution. Say if you're somebody that wants to stream tournaments, game tournaments, or MOBA tournaments and stuff like that, and you want a more mobile solution while using PCIe cards, there is a solution for that. And this guy just brought in a new device that actually just hit the market as well that we'll be talking about, that allows you to hook up devices without using too much of actually your buses. You don't even have to use your USB buses or your PCIe at all. So weren't we going to get that thing?
Yes, so to close out the PCIe section before we show you the real new technology, so
I thought that's what he was gonna go get. Damn it!
Like I mentioned earlier,
like I was saying, there are mobile solutions that you, the producers, can use that will allow you to take PCIe cards on the go and just take a laptop and not have to carry a desktop with you. So we have this box here. Tell them what it is.
So this is the Magma Express box.
Magma Express box. This company has been around quite a while. I remember when they were still doing, what's that little card called? The PC? I don't know. It looked like a credit card. You shove it into your laptop and it created a bus for you. I totally don't remember what it is. Such old technology. But anyways, in this particular device that they have here, they allow you to connect. Oh, he's on this side. Man, director, get it together, man. It allows you to insert multiple PCIe cards while using your Thunderbolt. And this is a good solution for people who are on the go. Obviously, this is going to be a much more, it's going to require a lot more funding
Yeah.
for you, but it's a solution that you can use if you're going out and doing events and want to carry the most minimal amount of hardware that you possibly can. So this is like the next best thing to taking the large tower and monitors and stuff like that. You can hook it up to your laptop, still have the 3 devices. So you can have like one PCIe card that has 4 HDMI, the other one 4 SDI, the other one, you know, VGA, component, composite, whatever you want. So it's a pretty diverse little solution, but definitely much more expensive.
Yeah, and the cool thing is that this model in particular is for Thunderbolt 2, but now models coming out for Thunderbolt 3 are just hitting the market, and those you have even more bandwidth, right? So when you start wanting to capture 4K and 144 hertz and even higher frame rates, Thunderbolt 3 will give you the bandwidth for that. Now going from one piece of future tech to going to the next one, so recently New Tech took out or brought out this protocol called NDI, right? So what NDI is, like it sounds like SDI, right? Whereas SDI was a hardware cable on its own, NDI works through network connections, so it just hooks up to your router through Ethernet ports. You can even use it through Wi-Fi. And before, NDI was a protocol that worked with software, right? So, you know, XSplit actually can output NDI and take in NDI, and other software could do the same. But now New Tech has actually released a hardware solution for this, and this is the XSplit here. Try and get it on camera.
Director? All right, the Van White shot. Let's go.
So the XSplit, this is actually really cool because now you don't necessarily need to connect physically to your computer anymore. It'll run through the network. So as you can see, it can connect through the router through Wi-Fi, connect through the network through Ethernet, and
I can't see the letters, man. I can't see the letters, bro. Focus. Jesus, man. There you go. Good job. Good job.
And then, yeah, so pretty much they have a HDMI version, and you can see it has a pass-through, and they also have a SDI version. So it is recommended to use this on gigabit networks, but basically you can place this capture card anywhere around the room, and as long as it's part of the same network as XSplit is, it can pick it up. So for example, if you're in big tournaments now, like fighting game tournaments, now you can set these all over the tournament floor and capture the matches, or even set up cameras too. And you basically are just open up to so many more possibilities with this type of technology.
And so one of the things that we did at one event was actually use the NDI technology. We had about, I think it was 5 streams, 5 production stages going on at the same time. So one of the ideas we had at the time was, how do we showcase those streams whenever there's downtime, like on the main stage, right? So because of the NDI technology, we were able to push out all the other streams into the network, and then the main stage would have access to basically the signal from those streams. So whenever there's downtime, we could just switch on the fly, and we would be able to show like stream 2, stream 3, stream 4, stream 5. So it's a really good, really fun technology. I've used it quite frequently on a lot of Smash events that I used to do, and some fighting game tournament events as well. So it just opens up so many things that you can do. You can also set it up, say if you want a crowd cam, like if outside the venue or something, as long as it's in the same network and the network has the appropriate bandwidth required to push out the signal that you have your source set to, you should receive it no problem. You'd be able to add it, and you can pretty much hook these things up anywhere and then be able to bring in the source into XSplit. What are you doing there, buddy?
So yeah, now that we've talked about the different kinds of capture cards, I kind of wanted to shift it over to the different settings in XSplit that are kind of important if you're using capture cards.
Okay, before we get to that, I have a question. How come you haven't promoted our social media yet?
You mean our giveaway discount?
Our giveaway discount. Yes, please promote.
I mean discount, not giveaway.
Discount. It's a discount. Let me correct myself. All right. Here, so you can read it.
So if you want to get 15% off your XSplit license, that's a lifetime license, which is on sale now for $199.
You can pass it on to your children later.
Yeah, that's inheritance. That's not just, you know, having stuff. That's
There's
wealth.
history on that account.
You can etch it, you know, here, or you can give it to no one. I want to be buried with my XSplit lifetime license.
There you go.
Anyway, if you use the code behind the stream 0824, you'll get 15% off. Now, this is only active for plus or minus an hour as the show is live. And yeah, so yeah, behind the stream, 0824, 50% off any XSplit license. It's personal, it's premium, 1 year, 3 year, lifetime.
Whatever you want, we got
3
you covered.
months. Everything.
Everything. It's going out of behind the streams. We're going offline. So use
Also, you know, you still have time to maybe enter a contest.
oh yeah.
XSplit.it/Stream Deck giveaway.
Do we not have a thing for it?
No, we don't. This is off the top of the dome. But yeah, we're giving away an Elgato Stream Deck like we showed off earlier. And we're actually going to announce the winner at the end of the show. So
on live?
Live.
Dude, you guys better make sure you go head on over to twitter.com/XSplit and go follow and then look for that tweet. Maybe somebody...
It's direct. If you go xspl.it/Stream Deck giveaway, it goes directly to the page where you can enter. It's a Gleam promotion, so that means you can enter with your Twitch, your Twitter, your Facebook. Just follow us in different ways, and you have a chance to win a Stream Deck.
Damn,
But
I don't even have one of those things.
Yeah, we had to
Go
we had to do some crazy stuff to get the one that we have now.
Go follow. Go enter.
Many Bothans died trying to acquire these
Man,
Stream Decks.
we only have one. And you can win one too. Just go do.
XSPL.it Stream Deck giveaway.
There you go. Somebody in the chat, you beautiful people out there, can you guys just post that in the chat channel? I greatly appreciate it, and I will love you forever.
So back to kind of setting up capture cards within XSplit. So we have a few important settings, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and add a card here. Now there's nothing connected to this card, so you're just gonna get a black feed, but there's basically two important sections. One is video output and the other one is video input. Now video output's the one that is probably gonna be most commonly used. And basically this is where you set your frame rate and your output size. So for example, like let's say you're using the enclosure for Thunderbolt, right? Now if you're on Thunderbolt 2, that means you only have so much bandwidth, right? So that means some sources can be 1080, some sources can be 720. And this is the menu where you're gonna set that. If you want to save on some bandwidth, you can drop it from 1080 to 720. Maybe you drop the frame rate from 60 to 30. That can be all done right here. The other important option is video input. Now this doesn't give you as much to play with. This is really just kind of color settings, and you can kind of do this a bit in XSplit, but maybe it's something you want to play with. The final important setting is the audio input. Now what happens is that some capture cards don't basically combine their audio into a single source. Like basically a driver is installed for the video and a driver is installed for the audio. So in order to kind of sync these together, you use this audio input. So you can see here's the audio interface for this particular capture card. So now once I select this, they're kind of connected together. You'll be able to hear it like on your headphones if you have some connected, because they'll play through system sound. So we'll do that. You can see it's set to system to sound out, right? Now let's say like, hey, I don't want to hear this audio, you know, I don't want to hear the gameplay, I don't want to hear so-and-so. What you can do is you can set it to stream only. That means only your recording, only your stream will get that audio. So those are some important settings when you're dealing with capture cards in XSplit. Yeah, that's mainly it for those settings.
Yeah. By the way, some of the outputs have their own proprietary settings, like their own proprietary window. Certain capture cards, right? They'll have their own little...
Yeah. So for example, we were using a AverMedia earlier, right? So AverMedia has a bit different stuff. So what happens is AverMedia, we worked with them and basically partnered with them on making sure the card integrates properly. So for example, on the Live Gamer HD, it'll auto detect resolution and frame rate and set that accordingly. But right here we have a crossbar instead of a video output and input. And this basically lets you say, hey, I want to take in the component input, or I want to take in this input, or I want to take in this audio. For example, the Live Gamer Portable has like an auxiliary input for the audio instead of just taking in HDMI audio. So yeah, that's mainly it for capture card settings.
All right. What's the next topic? What are we doing?
What?
This guy.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for capture card settings. If we can right now, we'll pause on the giveaway winner right now.
Okay.
We'll give people a little bit more time to get their entries in. So instead of that, we'll flip it with the Q&A section.
Can I select the winner? That way it's somebody here in the office. That way we can get a second one. No.
No.
That was a good try. I mean, I tried. Like,
Okay, so
so now we're doing the Q&A stuff, right?
Q&A. So this is questions from social media. Also, you can ask the questions in chat, and we'll do our best to answer them. So first question is, I have an Elgato AC60 and do YouTube videos of my Xbox One footage. The channel has been doing well, but I want my videos to look more professional, and with Creator Studio closing on YouTube, I'm worried about learning new software. That's too complicated for me. How do I easily cut out sections of video I don't want add intro video to begin my footage? So this isn't really a capture card question.
Yeah.
But we'll still answer it because there is actually a solution for this. So as you may have known, YouTube used to have a editor built in where you could chop in and combine different YouTube videos. Now we actually have a editor built into XSplit. So let me go ahead and just configure some stuff here on my end.
Wait, director, don't switch it yet.
So yeah, if we can go ahead and show the XSplit screen here. What we have here is the Express Video Editor. So this is a simple way. So let's say you've recorded some clips from XSplit and you want to combine it with the intro, right? So all you have to do is you just drag and drop an intro like we have here. So you can see here's our what's new in XSplit intro, right? And then, you know, we have some gameplay footage here, which may or not be actual gameplay. Okay, well, they must have the same audio setting. Anyway, let's just take a couple clips that are recorded in XSplit. Now there's a workaround around that. I could just re-record the intro in XSplit and then put it into this editor. But you know, now we have two clips. Videos must have the same resolution. I really shot myself in the foot on this one.
Hashtag more professionally.
More professionally. So these should have the same resolution now. Anyway, so if this was my intro and then this was my gameplay footage, right? I could just, you know, cut my gameplay footage however I wanted. Let's just cut it here. Take this out. And then you can just export it. And, you know, that's a quick and easy way to pretty much combine different types of footage, set an intro to it, and then make it a single file. So I will say, to avoid what I had to go through, make sure everything's recorded the same. So 1080p, if you have a video file from someone else that you might have used, throw it back into XSplit, just hit local recording again, and that's a way to make sure everything's uniform, and then you can output that as a video. So let's go back to the questions.
Why does he have his hands up in the air?
Uh-oh.
Did something happen? Did we finally get thrown offline? Anything?
Bueller.
The director. Ah, there we go.
Is hardware video encoding important in a capture card, or is software encoding just as good? Do you want me to get this, or do you want me to?
Go ahead.
Okay. So as you know, some capture cards have hardware encoders built in. Also, a lot of your PC hardware has hardware encoders built in. Like Intel chipsets have QuickSync, NVIDIA has NVENC, and AMD has VCE. So for example, the AverMedia Live Gamer HD actually has an H.264 encoder built in. Now, it really depends on what you're doing with it, right? So as I've said before, hardware encoders are not the best for streaming because you basically need to pump more bitrate in to get a certain image quality. So if you're using it for streaming, then yeah, it's not really important on your capture card, right? Now, if you're recording, that's where a hardware encoder on a capture card can be useful. So let's say you have a really crap PC, like it has a shitty CPU, it has a shitty,
Can we say that word? It sounds kind of naughty.
shoddy.
Yeah, there you go. That's better.
You have a shoddy GPU in it, then basically you can put in like the Live Gamer HD, and you can use the Live Gamer HD's hardware encoder to record your video footage. So that's a really good use case for that. Now, if you're just purely capturing and you're just worried about streaming, then no, it's not important at all. But if you really need a hardware encoder and you don't have access to it and other means in your PC, then definitely use it for that.
Yeah.
Is a capture card worth having if you have a high-end graphics card? So this is pretty much the kind of like, you know, 2 PC question, like is 2 PCs worth it or not? So the thing is the reason why people have 2 PCs, even though they have 2 Titans in SLI or 1080 Ti's in SLI or, you know, the highest end graphics cards, is because it's pretty much like if you don't want any performance hit in your gameplay. Now, encoding and stuff like that, it's always going to use some of your CPU, and that CPU that it's using means it's not going to your game, or that GPU that it's using means it's not going to your game. So if you just basically want the ultimate like perfect gaming experience, then yeah, have a capture card on a second PC. If you don't notice anything, or things don't affect you much, or if you go from 240 frame rates to 235 and you're like, all right, I'm okay with that, then no, you don't need a capture card for PC gaming.
I kind of feel like that was incomplete.
No, that I think that was the whole thing.
Was there something else?
Because if it was incomplete, it would have a ...
I guess.
Yeah.
I still feel like there's something missing there. Okay, next question.
What alternative methods to running tournament streams that requires? Oh, okay, hold on a sec. Let me look up the full question here for us.
Yeah, the ...
This might be something you can answer, Mondo. But
Perhaps. Anyways, while we're waiting for this question to load, can we plug the thing? I'll do it this time. Make sure you check us out at, oh, never mind. Well, first of all, make sure you check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/XSplit, but also use the code behind the stream 0824 and get yourself 15% off whichever license you choose to purchase. You know, get a lifetime. You can pass it down from you, your kid, your grandkids and stuff like that. They could be streaming too, because it's new technology. Streaming is not going to go away anytime soon. This is blowing up. Everything's getting bigger. People are always online watching stuff and doing things. There you go. Generation to generation. What does it say?
So what are alternative methods to running tournament streams that require multiple sources, such as consoles? Should you get multiple cards, or should you use like a HDMI switch?
If you're just gonna go like console to console, I think this one, it's pretty, what we used to do when we used to have to go from PS3, PS4, 360, or Xbox One. Depending on how your setup is, we would just switch out the console. We didn't really use a switcher for it or anything. But sometimes you would find yourself in a position where the HDMI doesn't sync back up. So it doesn't, once you unplug it, it wouldn't have a connection, so it would have to reestablish it. So depending on the capture card you were using, maybe it wouldn't pick up the signal and you'd have to refresh it before you would start getting the signal again. But for the most part, if you want to do multiple consoles, you can just have if on one capture device you want to have multiple consoles, and you want to make it as efficient as possible when you're traveling to go do events and stuff like that, you can have one capture card just dedicated for the consoles and then have a switch attached to it, or some kind of splitter, right? So you have the console going into the splitter, which is maintaining the signal going into the capture card. That way you don't lose the signal. And then whenever you want to go, say you're streaming a Marvel 3 tournament, and then you got to switch over to like Street Fighter, and you're going from PS3 to Xbox, you can always kind of swap them out on the fly because they're pretty much the same. If you keep them on the same resolution and the same frame rate, you shouldn't have a problem with it. But if you do have a lot of stuff, if you're a larger scale production where you're gonna be running like multiple games on different consoles, we're talking about from HDMI to composite, S-video, then you either might want to look into a couple, like a 2 capture card solution, or you can look into a upscale or converter solution as well, right? Because then that box, anything you throw at it, whether it's composite all the way up to HDMI, will be able to convert the signal to whatever your capture card has, and more than likely it'll be HDMI. And then that way you don't have to fiddle with that capture card. You don't have to fiddle around with the settings. You just set it one time, and then every time you plug in a new system into your converter box, it'll do everything else for you.
Cool. So that pretty much does it for the social media questions. Now, again, make sure to tweet at us every time we put out a show topic, because you do have a chance to win something like a 1-month XSplit license.
And it's always good to know what questions people have when we're going into these episodes. That way we can just have more answers for you guys and try to expand on them a little bit more. So right now, for the meantime, these are the beginning episodes, so we don't go too in depth on a lot of stuff, because for like capture cards, cameras, microphones, there's so much in-depth information, which is kind of why I said in the first episode, it's always good, no matter what you're dealing with, when you're gonna have some kind of production stream, whether it's a home stream or you're doing it, you know, remotely in some location or in a stadium. When you get hardware, it's always good to, 1, look up the documentation on it, 2, experiment as much as you can. So those are 2 of the most important ways for you guys to figure out what you can and cannot do, and then, you know, just try doing crazy stuff in XSplit.
So I saw a question in the chat, which is asking about the 4K capture card from Elgato. Basically, Elgato announced during Gamescom that they have a new 4K capture card that also, I believe, supports up to 144 hertz. And they're asking, when will that be supported with XSplit? Now, of course, that capture card just got announced. We need to test it and stuff like that. But from early reports about what I've heard from the capture card, I think we'll be able to support it quite quickly upon release. Now, another question was, does XSplit support 4K? So if we can go ahead and cut back to the PC here, I'll show you guys that we do actually support 4K already.
But if you have a Cyrix computer, it may not work that well. But that's like an old chip. I don't expect anybody to have it. Damn, that's from like 98.
So we'll just go ahead and go to this screen so it doesn't trip you guys out. But basically, if you go into this drop-down section, you go to resolution, you can add resolutions, right? So we already have a 4K resolution there. Add that, and then we set it to 4K. Now, of course, you need a monster PC that will be able to take in not only the input, but record and stream with it. But yeah, XSplit's already 4K compatible. You can use it now. And the thing is, there are a couple sites that do support 4K streaming. For example, I think Smashcast and YouTube support it now. But you know, this is something that the bandwidth required to watch it.
That's kind of like the downside, right? Is everybody wants to stream at these higher resolutions just to, you know, because it's there, right? And it's cool to stream at 4K, but the problem is that network, right? The person or the people that are going to consume your media might not be able to view it. So sometimes if you stream at 4K, just think about the upload speed that you're going to have to get that going on your service. And then the person watching it can even watch it in 4K.
Another thing to take into account too is that if you do have this 4K input, I mean, if you're really that type of quality person that I need the best quality, then yeah, once you're downscaling that 4K input to 1080p, the image will be, you know, that slightly better 1080p that's downscaled. It's, you know, going to be better than just raw native 1080p. So that's some benefit of using a 4K capture card. You get that really, that's the most quality you can get until there's an 8K capture card that you can bring down to 1080p. But yeah, if there's any questions left, now's the time to ask. If not, I think we have our giveaway winner ready, so we'll announce that after that.
Is it me?
Maybe.
Come on.
I mean, you have your phone. You have some tweets.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, they won't let me win. Anyways, it's okay. It's okay. We have this one here. It's the best. Is this what we're giving away?
Not quite. Not quite.
Oh, okay. Not quite.
Not quite.
Okay, can we show them what we're giving away?
I mean, well, yeah, we're giving away this, but not this.
Okay, so you guys can potentially win this device here that was touched by me. I'll sign it for you as well if we send it out to you. If we pick you and you're the winner and you request my autograph, I will be more than happy to put my John Hancock on there and get this shipped out to you.
So having said that, it looks like that's it for the questions. I think let's go into our giveaway announcement winner segment.
Hey, do we have the thing? No?
Yay!
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Anybody made PUBG, want a squad, let me know. Hit me up, buy Battlegrounds on Steam.
So the winner is Alicia Griffin.
What?
At Alicia Griffin on Twitter.
It's not me. That picture doesn't even look like me.
Congratulations, you've won a new Elgato Stream Deck.
Man.
Now make sure to respond to our DMs and claim your prize. If you do not claim it, I'll make a statement here. If you do not claim it in 48 hours, it may or may not go to Mondo.
It's going to me. You have 48 hours to respond. If you do not respond, then it will default to the next winner, which is me. But yeah, congratulations. Enjoy it. I'm sure you're going to have fun with it. There's a lot of neat little things that you can do with it outside of just the basic stuff that they tell you it can do, which is I think is going to be the most interesting thing, is to see what people wind up doing with it, and not just the standard stuff, you know. I always like seeing people go out of the box and then just trying different things with what they have to push the limitations on it. But yeah, congratulations to you, and make sure you hit us up back in on the messages, and so we can get it out to you. Congratulations.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the show about all about capture cards. I do see that some of the people were having a little bit of problems with the stream. Sorry about that. We are streaming to quite a few different points. We're also on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, Mixer, and Twitch, of course. But yeah, as always, behind the stream, we'll be tinkering behind the stream to make sure you guys have a good experience next week.
Yeah. If you guys miss any part of the stream, definitely make sure you go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/XSplit, and we post all the VODs go up on the website as well. If you're new to XSplit, make sure you check out the video tutorials that we have up there as well. They'll teach you quite a bit about it if you don't already know. So yeah, definitely follow us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. That way you guys get to see the new content that goes up there. Yeah,
and in case that the VOD on Twitch is broken up, we'll definitely upload a full VOD to make sure that you can just watch it straight through. Sadly, you won't have the experience of the chat to back it up with, but sorry about that. But yeah, again, you know, if you want a 50% discount, make sure to go to xsplit.com/buy, enter the discount code behind the stream 0824. And
did you get it right? I don't see the lower third.
And you'll get 50% off a lifetime license, a 1-year license, a 3-year license, premium personal. It all gives you a discount. So yeah, definitely behind the stream 0824 on xsplit.com/buy. My name is Louis Offcast. This is
Yo soy Armando. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, ducks, chickens, elderly people, twerkers. Thanks for tuning in. Episode 3 is in the books. Look out for episode 4. 2 weeks. What's the topic? Who knows? Check us out on Twitter for that information.
Twitter.com/XSplit. Also follow us on PlayerMe/XSplit, Instagram.com/XSplit, Facebook.com/XSplit. Subscribe to us on YouTube/XSplit. Subscribe to us on Twitch. Follow us on Mixer. Follow us on Periscope.
Go to Google, type in XSplit, and follow every single page.
Don't follow us on MySpace because I don't know who that imposter is.
Or ICQ. I know it's a little bit outdated, but the technology is still there and people still use it. Or AOL Instant Messenger. We're not on there anymore. Yahoo Messenger, RIP. So we're not on there as well. But everywhere else, follow us.
All right. Thank you, guys. Catch you in a couple weeks.
Later, guys. Have a